on Tom Hanks' film for some reason. And he and I do a show together.
Woohoo! Pop culture minefield.
So don't you have another website you do stuff for also, Gerry?
Oh, website?
I thought there was somebody, or maybe there's a group that you're working with.
Well, I work for Becker Films right now.
Okay.
And I did his website.
Okay, maybe that's
And he and I are like, Bruce Campbell, everybody knows who Bruce Campbell is, right? I met Bruce Campbell like almost 30 years ago. And I did an interview with him for a magazine I worked for. And he introduced me to Josh Becker because he's doing this new movie with Josh. And so Josh and I became best buddies for some weird reason. He liked me and I liked him. And I've done stuff for him for years. And then as of last year, he officially hired me. And now I'm his full-time artist. I just did 2 movie posters for him for 2 of his films. And I'm doing all the web design for him. And I'm helping even his producers get stuff done who don't know how to get anything done, including managing their Internet Movie Database page.
Right.
And they're really good people.
See, that technically makes me the official goof-off guy.
Well, for all of that stuff I just said, I work maybe 6 hours a day solid, total. The rest of it is playing video games or talking to her. Or him. He and I get on the phone and we don't shut up.
That's the reason why we do
Which is why we do the show.
Right. I understand. I've had those phone calls from Keith. Hey, you got a minute? 3 hours later, my wife's like, we're needing to eat. What are you doing?
The baby's dying.
Timmy's in the well again.
Yeah.
So I understand. So we were talking some of the challenges of doing the geek media, nerd media, that kind of what are the challenges that you guys are facing, having just started pop culture
Minefield.
Well,
I think Tim covered a lot of it. I mean, geek media is so fast.
Yeah.
Everything just comes out, and part of it is the fact that everybody's very interested in what's going on. It used to be nobody gave a rat's butt.
I know. Right. It's this week alone, we were supposed to dedicate the entire episode to talking about Star Trek, why some of it works and why none of what they're doing now works. And he was going to educate the public on why it's messed up. And there is an actual reason why it's messed up. And it's the split of CBS from Paramount.
Yeah.
And you'll never get continuity with that split because they're legally, even CBS is not legally allowed to make Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
Who would make that rule?
Yeah.
You know, that's why you get that weird lawsuit. And on the top of that, that's why Star Trek, the movies, had to change the uniforms.
Yeah, the new ones.
Yeah.
Everything is legally different because it is not the actual Star Trek that you know. Nobody has done anything even remotely with any of that since 2005.
Yeah, and
that is the legal thing.
Because you'll hear people use the word prime. Prime is an invented word by CBS. It's to trick you into thinking, oh, this is continuity with the original series and Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise. But actual continuity ended in 2005 with the end of Enterprise.
Yep.
And
so we're operating
is not continuity, but they've created this fake word called prime to make you think, oh, it is. No, it's not.
It's kind of the same idea that the Fox people had with the X-Men films. There's a reason why a lot of those films are not as good because they didn't really, they didn't follow the comics for a reason. They have no real ties to Marvel. And so when they talk about continuity, they're not talking about continuity in the comics. They're talking the continuity.
Internal continuity.
Of what they've invented, which is what Star Trek is doing with Discovery.
Because Alex Kurtzman is following the continuity of what he knows, which is, of course, the 2009 Star Trek film. That's the
continuity that they're paying attention to. So anything you know from the J.J. Abrams films all the way to Discovery, that's its own continuity outside of regular Star Trek.
And, you know, and people get confused, they go, well, this is Prime. It's the same universe as Kelvin. It is. It's just a trick of phrasing that makes you think it's different, but it is the same. Which is why still, like, even though I gave a good review to this latest episode of Discovery, I panned it at the same time saying Alex Kurtzman still can't get it right when he gets it right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a very well written episode. But the problem is it looked like a J.J. Abrams production. Lens flare all over the place, weird fisheye lenses because fisheye lenses, as a filmmaker, you learn are there for a reason. They're there to help you tell a story and let the audience know that this is a different reality from what you were looking at a minute ago. It lets you know it might be a dream, nightmare, or possibly an incursion into someone's mind. So you see that abstract curved lens look. Well, they're throwing that all willy-nilly all over. It looked like half the show was shot with GoPro. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are they shooting it like that? And then on top of that, the lens flares. And you're like, where's it coming from? I want to see their faces. Stop blocking their faces.
And I think before we jump out of this to give Larry back the show.
Yeah, Larry, you can have it.
The thing about Discovery is it is the single most expensive Star Trek series ever in the history of Star Trek shows. I mean, almost just too much to think about.
Yeah,
they spend a lot of money on that show.
That they're continuing for a third season. It's already been called, but we already said there's no way they can cancel it. It's a beast.
Yeah.
And if they cancel it, they are canceling their app.
Right.
The All Access. It is the only draw that they have.
Right.
And it's not drawing in new people. They're losing people. So they're trying to figure out how to fix that. And of course, what's her name came up with the idea of...
Oh, Sherry Redstone.
Yeah.
Sherry Redstone is the daughter of Sumner Redstone, who is the man that owned or still owns Viacom, which is the massive corporation that owned or owns both CBS, Paramount, and all this other stuff, right? And he was the one that came up with this idea years ago of just basically dividing this whole conglomerate into two. So what he did was he took Viacom and split it into two pieces, Viacom and Paramount, figuring that that would also double the amount of money that the shareholders would make. And Viacom then officially became CBS Incorporated. Okay, so the understanding was that by dividing all that and dividing the Star Trek license between two companies, so taking it out of Paramount and dividing it between the two companies, CBS Incorporated took pretty much ownership of everything, and Paramount got the movie rights.
But here's the problem. Neither of them can make anything totally associated with the original series or film.
That's the reason why the films
So
are
they're
so different.
completely both restricted the exact same way.
It wasn't JJ doing it. It was legally, he could not make anything that looked like the original series. So they had to change, they had to basically.
Bridge.
Yeah, it's 25% difference, even though it might be a little bit more. The ships had to be different. I mean, had to be the same but different. The costumes the same but different. The weapons the same but different. Klingons same but different. Vulcan same but different. And it extends to everything, including Star Trek Discovery. So until they figure out a way around this is your reality now. Sherry Redstone now coming in now is looking at everything, and they've noticed that they've lost money for both companies. Paramount is now where Fox was, 20th Century Fox was 10 years ago. And we all know what's happened to Fox.
Right.
CBS Incorporated isn't doing much better. Both entities are losing money. So in her view, it's time to reunify the whole thing. And she's let it be known that she isn't going to allow things to continue as they are. She's already given interviews. As far as she's concerned, Star Trek is one of the biggest properties they have. Nobody's happy with this. So basically, you have maybe another year of Discovery, and one of two things is going to happen. Either Discovery is going to get changed, or they're going to cancel the show.
Which is highly unlikely, because it is all they've got.
Yeah.
All their bets are hedged off of Star Trek. to make the app work.
And nobody associated with Star Trek. Originally, the showrunner for Discovery was a young man relatively, who got to start working in the business, working on Star Trek: The Next Generation. When he was hired, it was with the understanding that this new TV show that eventually became Discovery was actually meant to be a part of the Star Trek that everybody knows. Okay? He eventually got fired.
Well, this all goes to another person, Les Moonves.
Oh God, Les
who
Moonves.
is
He was the head of
greatest
CBS.
enemy of Star Trek.
Yes. He does not like science fiction. He didn't like science because he's no longer working for them. He didn't like science fiction and he hated Star Trek. Notoriously, it's said that he didn't really even know the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars.
Gas.
And so when he made all these deals that eventually led to Discovery, he was doing a lot of stuff on purpose, even if it meant pissing off longtime fans because he could not give two
he's too rich to give a crap.
So, yeah, anyway, we need to turn this back.
Let's bring this back in.
Yeah.
And I'll answer one of the questions I just asked.
Yeah.
One of the hardest parts is to bring people in that are very passionate to make the show.
Yes.
Titans of the Fantastic, we've ran into that where our shows run 3 hours and because we have a tendency to chase rabbits and which is great. So we're working on trying to make that more concise.
Yes.
And
Well, that's why we do ours with notes.
Right.
Because we're all ADD, you know.
I usually bring in notes and hand them out, but it doesn't seem that. Tim, do you guys run into a similar problem that you guys start talking about things and go off?
Oh yeah, easily, because we do our weekly movie reviews and, one thing will remind us of another film and we'll go into that film and that film's character reminds us of another character that they were in another film and it's down around the world. And we try to keep notes. We got them listed down on the computer, the bullet points we want to make sure we hit.
Yeah.
And originally what we wanted to be a 3-4 minute review turns into 12, 13 minutes and people are falling asleep because, we started out talking about Black Panther and now we're talking, about Lost in Space. So how did we get there? I don't know, but it happens. And
the adult mind of the tangent ADDer.
We are the tangent team.
Well, I think being the geeks that we are, that we all like a lot of different things, not just one particular area.
Yeah.
That's much easier to do since our genre is very open. So then we start thinking about how cool this was, or how I didn't like this, and this reminded me of that. And so I think that feeds into it, which it's a problem when you're trying to do a concise show.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to have, and especially if you have an ability to take that and run with it. I know your guys' show runs with a lot of stuff where you guys really kind of delve in. So if you guys like what you just heard from these two, check out their show, Pop Culture Minefield, because it's pretty much what you just heard. It was,
Our own
we
YouTube
just
channel.
go back
It's
and
great.
forth. It's me setting him up. I'm the straight man in the comedy team. I said, and then of course I'm also the
It's,
funny.
it's Lewis and Mark.
Lewis Martin.
That makes me Lewis.
You're Lewis. I'm Martin, but I still get zings in every once in a while.
lady.
The fun part for it is though, I crack him up really bad.
it's true, you do.
I will it's one of my favorite things to do is to just catch him off guard and say something completely, sorry, I'm not PC, completely retarded. It's like there's something wrong with me and I just say something. But he did it the other day. Threw me off. We were talking and I was complaining about the BBC and some of their decisions they've made. And he goes, what was it? You said something about
I
a problem
can't
with the
repeat that.
BBC.
I can't repeat that.
And I caught it and I'm like, I went, you made a dirty joke. Oh my God. Threw me off. I'm like,
That's usually your job.
that's my job to throw him off. And threw me off with that. I'm like, oh my God, it cracked me up. But I don't know. You guys, all of us are the same thing. I think we all agree that we find it weird when we meet people who are just very specific kind of nerd. I'm thrown off by that. Like, I only like World of Warcraft, or I'm a Lord of the Rings guy. Did you like The Hobbit? No, just Lord of the Rings. It's like, same characters. Author, I don't understand it. Or Star Trek versus Star Wars throws me. I'm like,
Well, and I always hear from those people is like, well, Star Wars is really a fantasy show, and Star Trek is true sci-fi. I'm like, well, no, it's a Western. You have to understand, Star Trek's a Western from the 60s.
With
That's
scientific
sci-fi,
elements.
right, which is great. Not begrudging, that's perfect, but you gotta, don't tell me it's just straight sci-fi because, it cracks me up when people get very specific with that. Like, okay,
Yeah, it always throws me. It's like, I'm a nerd. It's like somebody goes, well, do you like Star Wars or Star Trek? I went, yes.
right.
I love them both equally. In fact, you know, because like a lot of my friends that I grew up with went through that period when we were in high school of like getting high and doing stuff. I never did that. I never did. All my money went into buying Star Wars and Star Trek crap. I never had money for drugs. It was just, if I had money in my hand, it was going to go very quickly buying the new Revell Millennium Falcon or the new X-Wing, or in 1980 the Snow Speeder.
Yes.
Like,
It was.
Really? I mean, ooh.
It was. I agree.
Or comics.
I was gonna say, comics is
and of course comics. I was an avid comic reader. I mean, I remember my friends, even the ones that got high, I would hang out with. We'd hit the 7-Eleven in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and we'd sit out on the curb at 1 o'clock in the morning reading the latest comics because they had that little
Spinner
what do you call
rack.
that? Spinner rack.
Yeah.
And we go in there and just be picking out. And 1 o'clock in the morning, cops would come by and never say a thing to us because they would look at us and go, nerds. Even though we were really bad boys too, always getting into trouble. They didn't think that because there's this idea of what people have about nerds. It's like if you were talking to some of my friends, and a lot of them are on my Facebook page from high school, they will tell you, I beat the crap out of a lot of guys that thought they were bullies. And they're like, but you're a nerd. I'm like, yeah. That's why like Big Bang Theory annoys me because it only shows one type of nerd.
Right.
Half the guys I served with in the US Army, nerds. I started Dangerous Nerds, which is the host of what we do. Dangerous Nerds is, it was started for all of my military buddies that are avid fans of Star Wars, Star Trek, World of Warcraft, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
There are tons of military nerds. I don't know if you guys know anybody in the military, but there's a 50% chance they're a nerd.
Sounds like a pretty average human ratio, though.
Yeah. Now, shut up. I like your costume.
Thank you.
What is that?
I'm Atashi Uchiha,
Okay, what is that?
Naruto.
Just
Naruto.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know much what my daughter does.
Yeah, just shake your head and go cool.
Cool. And you're from South Park?
Yes.
I love those hats.
You actually got comments on the hat quite a bit today.
Really?
It's a good hat.
It's a good hat. It's a good hat.
That's military too, isn't it? That's not. Wow. It reminds me of the tanker winter hats. Okay, well, moving along now.
Yeah. No,
We're done with hat talk.
yeah, done with that talk. Tim,
Yeah.
when you guys were looking to create Nerd Informants, and I know you guys started off as it being a once a week sort of thing, and I know you guys knew each other from work. How did that process evolve? I mean, I know that because I've got friends of mine that we talk at work also that we're doing the nerd talk constantly, and people are always coming in on that. But tell us a little bit about how that got started and how you ended up where you're at now.
Well, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's embarrassing, but it's a little embarrassing. We realized that we weren't getting the views that we thought we should be getting because we thought we were the bee's knees, you know. We got everything going on, and nope, we were getting a handful of people to watch. We were wanting to see the big numbers, and we realized when we shortened the videos and we spent time devoted the video to one subject instead of many subjects, people were more likely to pay attention to it because our shows were like an hour long. We were recording a full 45 an hour long show, and in that show we were talking about the week's news, any movies we saw that weekend, if either of us got our loot crates or any type of unboxing videos we wanted to do, we were opening those during that video. So we had a whole slew of things, just trying to make it like a full service nerd show, and we just weren't getting the views from it. But once we started splitting those videos up and doing an unboxing video, and then doing a movie review video, and then talking about Justice League and the new cast members that's been added, or the new cast members that are coming to the MCU. People started watching it. It was shorter, and our biggest audience is people who are watching at work. So we wanted to make our videos short enough that people could quickly, when they're scrolling on Facebook, whether it's on their desktop or on their phone or their laptop, that they could watch it, in 3-4 minutes, and they could get back to work. They could watch it and go back to what they were doing, or if they were on lunch, they could watch it while they're on lunch, or if they're having to sit in a waiting room at a hospital or something, just enough time for them to have something to watch quickly. And once we kind of got into that little segment there, we started noticing we had more views. And the big stride is that I started just adding memes here and there on our page, on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, just like, hey, here's a funny meme. And then several of our memes just got shared 3,000-4,000 times that we posted. And that's when we realized, okay, people are coming for the memes, but they're staying for the content, which is fantastic.
It is.
And so that's how we really started getting people to come join Nerd Informant, is just by sharing funny videos or short funny videos or memes, and people seeing those and oh, these guys are kind of funny. They've got a sense of humor. So then they paid attention long enough for us to share with them that, hey, we've got a lot more to offer at the same time.
That's good.
So that's kind of how the evolution took place for Nerd Informants. And of course, people just like watching us do what we do. I mean, it's not really just like a sit-down segment. So we try to always be filming, whether we're going to a con or we're just in the car going to a toy store. One of our highest watched videos that we ever did was just us going to Harrison, because our buddy Jim was had bought an entire action figure store and was going out of business, and us just driving down there talking about hoping what we were going to get when we get there, and then on the drive back talking about what we got.
All the disappointment.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, you guys were just nerding out on the way down and on the way
Yeah,
back.
and it wasn't anything special. It was just us sitting there,
It's
me,
like-
me driving the car and him videoing. And
We're
that's all it was.
broadcasting live on our show right now.
But
Hi, Mom.
But-
But it is
Oh, sorry.
relatable though, everybody likes to nerd out. That's probably
Exactly.
part of the reason,
Exactly. And we found if we just kind of based it in, everyday life and not try to add the whimsical aspects and, not put hot sauce in our eyeballs before we start to see how long we can talk about nerd stuff while that's taking place. But that's
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. Like people like, let's see how many jumping jacks I can do and name how many MCU characters just before I pass out.
We've been doing this all wrong.
So
Maybe all right.
and I recently found out that like one of the newest YouTube channels, several people have mentioned this to me, is that they just eat chicken wings. And they eat chicken wings and they interview celebrities. And that's their thing. And they have
Yeah,
millions of
that's
followers.
actually really funny.
See,
It's really
exactly. And that's the thing.
They JSD and Weird Al and stuff, yeah, dude.
So it's kind of cool because they found that and that works for them. So it's just an evolution process for us.
What made you guys decide you wanted to do this to start off with?
Well, Josh Grisham, who hopefully will be up here shortly, he's actually moderating Chuck Huber's panel down on the main stage right now. But we both work together at the radio station locally here in Branson. Him as an on-air talent, me as the news director. And one day he was just like, dude, you're always talking about these nerd stuff, and you've got all these action figures at your apartment. And I just kind of want to sit down and start filming you talking about all the stuff that you love. So that's really how it started, was him just doing that and posting it to his YouTube page, his personal YouTube. And then we were just like, we should maybe get a little bit more serious about this. And since college, I had so many people come up and be like, we should do a podcast, we should do a video. And I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. We'll do one episode and then we'll never bring it up again, and it'll be fun, we'll enjoy it. But it's just one of those things where Josh was super devoted. Like, I was just like, we're going to do this, we should really do this. And so he went out and he bought professional microphones and webcam and got a black velvet curtain set up with risable poles and everything to have a nice backdrop behind us. And like, he went all out. I showed up to his house one day and he had all this set up. He spent hundreds of dollars. He's just like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And that was kind of the start of how this all went, was that he had that devotion to do it. And I was excited to be with somebody who actually wanted to do this.
Right,
Because so many times I was always the one that was having to do the stuff and come up with the ideas and make everything. And
There he
Josh
is.
Grisham, everyone, there he is.
We're waiting for you, buddy. We were talking about you.
The MC voice right here.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys were talking about me? It's
Yes.
crazy.
Well, about how sexy you are.
Oh, well, hey.
So we were just talking how you guys got started doing Nerd Info.
Yeah, so just kind of telling them that, you know, we really got serious and went out and we bought the mics and the webcam and the backdrop, and we had this all set up at your house when I showed up one day, and that's kind of, if it wasn't for him doing this, I probably wouldn't have taken him seriously and just assumed that he was like everyone else, wanted to do something like this with me. So,
You know, I gotta tell you guys, it's really cool when like you start adopting random people and there's no paperwork involved with that. That's like the best thing ever. And when I adopted Tim, there was like this really cool ceremony. We went like all across the counties in Missouri, and there was like mass celebrations, and then the heavens opened up and angels were crying. It's really cool. It really, really is. But
I don't remember the heavens opening up. It can stay
I over-exaggerated a little bit. I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you were under drugs.
It was
at that
really
time. Don't
sunny
worry.
that day.
But no, I mean, we had this idea, and putting it all together, I'm sitting there thinking, we're in this situation where there are so many people that are like, you know, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and we're in a time right now where if you've got the equipment, you've got the computer, you've got the microphone, you can be a superstar if you're in that right scenario. So the first thing that ran through my mind, guys, and I'm sure you were like the exact same way, it's like, are we late to the dance?
Yeah.
I mean, are we really going to be able to make a mark? Are we going to be able to do this? I mean, it's so rewarding to be something in your hometown.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. And, you know, we're going to cons and we're meeting people that are like outside of our area. When we have a child come up to us and say, you know, I watch your videos on YouTube. That is like the most rewarding thing ever. It's like, we've got fans. Right. And doing this stuff every day, I mean, it's like, we don't really know. I mean, we get the interaction on our social channels on Facebook, but when you have somebody come up to you and say it to you face to face, there is nothing better than that. Doing this, and guys, like, you know, you're gonna have to like agree or disagree on this one, but it's fun being poor.
Yeah.
It really is. It's so much fun being poor because it's like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get like these microphones and I'm gonna get the webcams and I'm gonna get the lights, and I'm sitting there thinking, why am I doing this when I don't have any money? Oh yes, because we want to like innovate. We want to like produce content. I think like for growth for us too, like when you really start hitting your stride and it's on Facebook or it's on Instagram and you gain 20 fans in a day, or your following has gone up by like 2 in a week, you're sitting there going, okay, this is cool. This is getting real.
It's working.
Yeah. And like on Facebook, when you post content, you're sitting there going, okay, our fans are engaged. They're taking time to share this stuff, or
Right.
they're going on Facebook just because they want to disagree about somebody's opinion about the latest movie that's out there.
Mhm.
When we have engaged fans, there is nothing more rewarding than that. It's like, okay, we're doing something right. We're doing something right. And I never, like in a million years, would have imagined that like I'd be sitting up here with like my fellow geeks and nerds and people that like I'm becoming friends with and like an extended family, and meeting such a generous community that shares time at a table. I never thought I'd be doing this. My day job, like I'm a radio host. You probably got that anywhere when I walk in the room, but like, you know, I guess it's where the public speaking comes in. I never thought I'd be sitting across from like Sean Gunn, like shooting the breeze and sharing stories, or
Right.
moderating a panel for Chuck Huber, which is where I was at the last half hour. I never thought I would have those opportunities. And so like from our like fellow colleagues here, from Tim to me to you, just dream big. Dream big. If there's something that you want to do, don't let anything stand in your way. Literally. If you've got a dream, if it's to be a journalist, or if it's to go to cons, or to be somebody on YouTube or Facebook, go for it. Go for it, really, because you never know the experiences and the adventures that you will have. Like I'm here. It is so wild, and I could not ask for a better partner to have. I mean, because like the way our lives would have gone, like I don't even know. Like if I hadn't met you, I mean, Nerd Informants would not have happened had I not come to Tim and said, "Hey, you know what? I just want to video like you talking about nerdy stuff." We learned, because when we got started, I mean, my God, we were doing a YouTube deal. I don't know if you talked about this or not. when we got started, we're like on camera on YouTube and we're talking like for like 45 minutes. And we're sitting there thinking, we've got to shorten this up because like nobody's going to watch like past 5 minutes. I mean, we're bantering back and forth. And if we happen to catch something interesting, why did we talk for 45 minutes? It's probably because it's a bad idea of mine, clearly. But guys, I mean,
Well,
growth.
it's a conversation.
Exactly.
We shortened ours, we truncated it. We're like, we went live, we did one episode that was 18 minutes, and we're like, what? Woohoo! And then we go this weekend, and we went over an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was supposed to launch the episode, I couldn't, it was still rendering when I left the house to come here. I was really aggravated with it. It's part of the reason why I was late, because I was trying to wait for the last second, going, oh my God, this thing is not done yet. And it's like, we really need to shorten it up.
Mhm.
And I do occasional like stuff. I did a Twilight Zone reaction and review video, and they pulled it. CBS pulled it. And I'm like, you know what, you jerks? It promotes you. It doesn't promote me.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't like you were bad mouthing either.
no, I liked
you're really good. Yeah.
I liked what it looks interesting. And CBS. Well, we've talked about CBS already. Their heads are way up their wazoo.
Oh,
They don't know what they're doing. They're the ones that went after Axanar. But then again, Axanar is the one that caused all the problems for a lot of other fan films.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of internal resentment with the Star Trek fan base with Axanar.
Yeah.
So I don't see their fan films or their short fan films succeeding now because they've irritated too many people.
And if I'm like repeating stuff like, just slide right, but like I just want to make sure I don't repeat it.
Well, this is the Department of Redundancy Department.
Thank goodness I am in the right room. If you haven't shared this yet, I'm curious, guys, like in doing what you're doing, like what has been like your best moment that you have had in doing this?
I like the outro that we did. Where I caught him off guard, actually. We left the camera on, and I'm just sitting there fake talking. And he's just sitting there looking at the camera. And I'm like, and finally he realizes what I'm doing, and he goes, it was the previous episode, it was funny. Just the dumbest stuff cracks me up. I just like
And it's the
talking.
best.
Yeah, and I like talking about anything with him. I set him up all the time on things just to get him to go. I let him go. It's like
you want to see me get mad? That's what.
no, I really like getting it. He gets excited when he starts talking about CBS. And both of us, it's just, and I know how to push the button to get him going.
yeah.
And,
I
then
am not
just kinda
making
quietly
friends with
sit there and I'm
CBS
like,
right
we got an hour.
I am not making friends with Fox either. So.
So what do you think, Keith? What's your best moment, do you think?
Oh wow!
Because you have you and Gerry, you also have Titan the Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fanatics and the Fan.
Yeah,
I mean, you've done a lot.
Yeah, I've been a part of a lot of these. Look, my favorite moments are really just when everybody is just jamming on the same subject
Yeah.
and adding in what they know. There's something really special about it because for me, there's this thing that a lot of geeks and nerds, when we were younger, that you grow up with the mindset that this is just me.
Right.
And so to meet someone whose life experiences kind of mirror your own,
Right.
who are into the same things that you were into just as intensely, that is magical.
Yeah.
So for a lot of us, to meet a kindred spirit, of course there's going to be all of this just talk and fun. And for me, I go overboard, but that's another story for another time. And
Well, it's the whole tangent thing. Both of us do that.
yeah.
And we've been doing it for years. And it was funny that we ever even came up with the idea of doing the show. It's like, look, we do this. So
Well, it was
Right.
somebody else because we attended a function.
the panel and
During Christmas time, and
somebody
somebody just
talked
asked,
so much
yeah,
that the other panelists were like, no, we're fine. We'll
Yeah,
sit
yeah,
there."
yeah.
And they
We
just
went
sat
into
in the
another
audience and let us keep going.
and then somebody just asked, "Are you guys doing a show or something, a podcast?" And it's like, maybe.
And because of the comic book work I do, I did a poll on my page. Like, would you guys like to watch a podcast with? And everyone's like, yes. Because we're goofy.
Well, and then you told them that I was going to be a part of it. It was like, oh, maybe not.
I don't know.
Not today. Not with him.
Yeah, my joke at the beginning was we're going to call it the cool black guy and the fat man. But the funny part is we're not sure which one's which. So what was yours?
Well, and from my experience doing that, it's fantastic. My favorite part is actually the after show stuff, because Keith and Brittany and I sitting and talking outside of the library after it's already closed for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Still talking about things. And we're like, man, we should be recording this too. But again, we just recorded something that was over 2 hours. What are we doing? So,
Yeah.
so that's a lot.
It's a
of fun.
reality show at that point.
It really becomes that. But as far as being at Geeky Cool,
Yeah.
my favorite part of that has been, well, the moment that hit me the best was when I applied for Wizard World the first time with Geeky Cool and said, hey, can I come cover your event? And they're like, yes, we want you to come. And they treated me like a rock star. And I went, whoa, really? Because I thought you would just tell me no and move on. And then
We're so used to rejection.
right. Well, then C2E2 did that, and Planet, and other places. So it just kind of builds. Now, C2E2 later said, after a couple of years, no, we don't need you anymore. And I'm like, okay, I will come, but I won't cover you. And that year they had no coverage of anybody. You could Google their page. The only thing that you could find for them that year was the local television station that did 2-minute blurb.
Yeah.
And that was it, because they had told people with the small media, no, we don't need to give you free passes. You're going to come anyway. And so I went that year, and then I haven't gone since. And I think from what I'm hearing, I could go back and they would let me in. But my, those were my favorite moments when I realized, oh, you're actually giving credence to what I'm doing. My favorite stuff that's going on now is that I've added AJ as a writer and really encouraging her and seeing her grow as somebody who's running the website. That's my favorite part. It's not necessarily what I'm writing, but it's actually seeing what she's doing.
What is she writing?
She's writing a lot of original articles. She just did one on From the Love of Spider-Man, and she's doing a series on how she loves Spider-Man, what he means, and giving you kind of history and why. It's fantastic because it's coming from a geek's perspective, which is what my site's about. My
And
site's,
a lady too.
and a lady too, which I've had other writers that have been ladies. I've had Valerie, which was great.
Yeah.
Valerie was phenomenal. I've had some others. I actually have another one who does some occasional writing for me. Usually she does some interviews at cons for me over on the East Coast. Her and her boyfriend do some stuff for me. So, but watching AJ grow and shine, and she's like, hey, what do you think of me putting this out? And I'm always like, yeah, do it. Because she gets so excited about it, but she's not at that point she's comfortable just to write it yet. And she's really wanting my approval. I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. I don't usually have anybody who wants my approval, not my kid, not my wife, nobody. And here you're wanting my approval. But yes, and she's writing just great stuff. She's knocking it out of the park. So check out her work because she's phenomenal. My work's okay. I mean, I like it's funny because I'll reread what I write and I'm like, man, I'm good. Nobody else thinks so, but I'm good. So, but that's probably my favorite moment with Geeky Cool is that. So,
Well, let me ask, what's the biggest event that you've covered since you guys have started doing this?
mine would be C2E2 or Planet because they're both about the same.
Yeah.
Kind of go back and forth. I've tried to get into San Diego, and they usually just kind of like, "Who are you?" Okay,
Yeah.
and I've not tried in a few years because that would cost a lot of money to go to San Diego. I want to go there once, but anyway, that's beside the point.
What do you think, man? I mean, we've done so much, but like my first like real con that I went to, that was an experience and a half. It was Wizard World. But
Yeah.
What would you think would be our biggest, man? It's hard. We've done so much.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say Wizard World St. Louis was probably our biggest adventure that we got to go on. Like we applied for media passes, just hoping that, that they would let Nerd Informants in. I had been gone previously as a reporter for a radio station I used to work for back in West Plains, Missouri, and got media credits there. So I knew how to do it and what to do in order to get in there. And we got them, last year we got it, and we went there, and everybody was just super cool. We got to have face-on-face time with Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
And talk to her, which was fantastic, just learning her story and finding out her story from, really being the first sci-fi woman. I mean, woman
Right.
scientist,
Right.
Somebody that was a staple for a lot of women at that time in history, and just getting to learn about what influence she had on the show itself. But then we also got to meet Thomas Ian Nicholas, who probably best known for American Pie, and Kevin, and for those Rookie of the Year and Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Right.
For my generation, anyway. And he was just super laid back and super cool, and just the fact that Wizard World was awesome enough to let us get up with close and personal with these stars and
Right.
celebrities, and those celebrities were so nice and humble and giving us the time to do that. I mean, just a couple dudes from Branson hoping to, have some
Right.
fun at a Comic-Con, and it turns out that we got to hang out with some really awesome people. And plus we got to meet the Lord of the Rings, 3 of the Lord of the Rings cast, and do
And
one
that's-
is not simply a walk into Mordor.
Yeah, we actually did the meme, and they did the meme with us in the photo, which was absolutely hilarious. But like, you're up there, and those moments are so surreal, guys,
Yeah.
because you're sitting there, and you're like, okay, I'm looking to my left, and there's Sean Bain. He's right there. We're standing side by side, and Tim is wedged in between Sean Astin and Billy Boyd. We're just like, oh my God, this is real.
Right.
But that was the thing of beauty, because like I'm sitting here and I'm filming my buddy, and he's there talking with Thomas Ian Nicholas, and I get to watch him actually break the sound barrier at the beginning of the interview because he's marking out. He's a fan.
My voice tends to get a little high, and I'm excited.
Right through the roof. But like
You guys are not gonna believe this.
between
A little shaggy.
yeah, like
Like, dude.
it's kind of like you never go full Shaq in an interview. But like, I mean, it's so crazy because like for me, I mean, like Wizard World's definitely a highlight, but like through Nerd Informants and through other work, I think like a highlight for me, something I never thought it would happen, and you talk about a nerve-wracking situation, is when I'm sitting in a room and I'm interviewing Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That right there, I mean, like the first interview, I'm human. The first interview absolutely sucks. The second interview was so much better. I had 2 opportunities to sit down with him.
Yeah, he came back. That's the greatest.
He came
thing.
back, and that was really awesome. But honestly, I think the best moment, and those are so cool, but like for me with Nerd Informants, the best moment is just having little successes.
Yeah.
That's the best
I
moment
can see that.
because we're going in the right direction. We're
Right.
making it happen. That's the best moment for me, is those little successes that we have.
For me, it's been just a shift, because
Yeah.
I've been, I've known Hollywood people, actors, directors for decades, because I'm an artist. And so, my daughter was raised around that, and she'll talk to people, and the Missouri attitude is, show me that, we don't believe that, you lied. My daughter will go like, well, yeah, I hung out with J.F. Sebastian from Blade Runner. He fed me when I was a baby, and I have a fan club that was made up of Yvonne Craig, Jeremy Bullock, Bill Sanderson, and Meridel Carson, which is Yvonne's sister. And these 4 people would get a newsletter from me for years about my daughter, because they met my daughter. So weird fan club. And but I know, and Keith knows, I know a lot of like Hollywood people. I'm friends with them. I work with them. And so I've never been a person who really gets starstruck. But sometimes I find myself just sort of like feeling, this is so surreal. Like when I'm sitting down having dinner with Bruce Campbell and his brother. And
You had dinner with the Chin?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
I
God.
insulted him.
How cool
I
is that?
jammed him twice in one conversation.
Oh my.
Because he introduced me to Josh Becker, who's one of my best friends. Bruce introduced me to him back in '95. And Josh, I worked for Josh. That's who I worked for.
You ought to have him as a guest. I'm serious. There's a
That's
lot
the
more
coolest
going on
thing
there.
ever. Like if I was
Well,
in your
Josh
shoes-
just made that connection. He says, well, I used to work with Alex Kurtzman when he was just a snot-nosed kid on Hercules and Xena. So I'm like going, I totally like him now. No, I still don't.
My job is done.
Had I been in your situation, like literally, I would have done something really stupid, and I hope Bruce would have thought it was funny. I would have been like, "Hail to the shrimp baby."
Well, we're at a nice, one of those rotating table Chinese restaurants in Illinois, right off campus from the U of I. And just having dinner, I had thrown my first con, and it was a success, and Bruce came there as a favor. And we're all sitting around the table eating this food, and I think my wife at the time was absolutely losing her mind, and she was sitting down talking with Bruce Campbell. And Josh and I are off in the corner, like I am with Keith all the time, having our conversation about history. And the first time I jammed him in the conversation was, we're talking about, I think it was Newsweek wrote an article back in the mid-90s about so many millions of Native Americans were killed during the Plains Wars. And I said, there was never that number of Native Americans ever, much less killed during the Plains War. Where did they get that number from? And then Bruce turns into the conversation. He goes, you talking about that article from Newsweek? Well, I went, really, Bruce, the adults are talking. Go back over there and talk to your brother. And Josh lost his mind. He started laughing so hard because Bruce was like butthurt when I did that. He's like, I went back to talking to my wife and his brother. And then like later on, he made the announcement at that dinner that he was moving to Ashland, Oregon, to leave Hollywood. And again, I'm just kind of an asshole. I blurted out, I said, yeah, there's a lot more room in Ashland, Oregon for your ego to grow. And Josh lost his shit again, because he likes it when I zing Bruce. Bruce doesn't like it when I zing Bruce.
Well, of course not.
He's used to the one doing the zinging. And, and that was it. That was my surreal moment. Having dinner with Bruce Campbell.
Well, guys, our time is up. Thank you guys for joining us.
And Nathan's got here.
Hopefully you guys learned something, and if you haven't, you can just see us after the.
Yeah, we will be around.
Please do subscribe to all of our shows. And I suggest that we do a reality show right here in Springfield, Missouri about what we do.
Well, now that would be really interesting. I agree.
I think we should get
Well, you know
together.
Hollywood people, so.
Well, he knows TV people better than I do.
There you go.
Somebody's gonna have to make that happen. I mean, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Now, imagine that. It would be funny to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you follow me for a day, it's me sitting in this cave doing artwork all day, and then it's like, do something interesting. I'll erase.
I mean, put yourselves, gang, in a dark dystopian future where you only have two choices for programming on television. It's either the Kardashians or a reality show with a bunch of nerds. Which one would you go with?
A reality show. Would you guys like to see something like that about?
Seriously.
Guys?
Okay.
That's good.
There you go.
We'll talk
Hey, I have a
about it.
question though. Who are the Kardashians?
What's that?
Who are the Kardashians?
Well, there's this,
You're the best.
I'm Fat Kardashian.
You're welcome.
they're a space warring race with these huge necks and,
Or Kardashian.
Don't you put that evil on me. Don't you put that evil on me. Hey, so I mean, you guys gotta rush off, or you want to stay and do some cosplay speed dating with a nerd?
Well, I'm all right with that. That'd be great.
You want to do some cosplay?
yeah.
well,
speed
you know
dating?
what, I can help out, but, I'm already,
Yeah,
so.
well,
And my girlfriend.
It doesn't matter. We're not going to tell a single person about what debauchery goes on inside this room. The doors are closed, mate.
That shows you just don't know my wife. She knows everything.
Stays at Planet
Everything.
Okay, so I mean, now let me just ask you boys: do you know how cosplay speed dating works?
no, but I'm interested
No
to find
idea.
out.
That's
Does everybody in the room? You guys? I mean, it's pretty much ancient. I think they pretty much wrote the show on stone tablets. But you guys are aware of the dating game, yes?
Oh, the game.
Yes. So
Yeah.
and so we have some bachelorettes in here. I mean, do we have that? I mean, show of hands.
Woo!
We are progressive, yes.
Now, the row of moon back there in the back, yes, ladies, I've already noticed you. You can't hide in the room. Are you here specifically for cosplay speed dating? Yes. Kinda, sort of.
Don't be shy, come on, take a
Oh,
seat.
Cruella de Vil is here.
Welcome.
We got all these seats here.
Yeah.
Been waiting for you,
Hello,
seriously.
Cruella.
Cruella de Vil.
Yes.
Cruella de Vil. Yes, welcome. I love the outfit. Is that
real?
Is that made from real damage?
She'll never tell.
What? I can't talk about it.
You're all probably wondering why we've asked you.
Well, we're going to have to move the,
Dude, just like Indiana Jones.
because he said
Okay,
he's
so
going to
like first
plug
things
here.
first, like we're going to need like
I need either a cord or something. Here's the cord. There's the plug in over there.
Yeah, here.
Got it?
that want to compete. So
All right. Stand on up. Stand up. If you want to compete, stand on up. I think we've got 3. Come on down. Right over here.
we need to take the bachelor outside for a little bit.
Yo, Pool,
Yes,
Bachelor.
did you celebrate International Women's Day yesterday?
my butt still hurts.
We'll take that as an answer.
I think it's sort of a uniform, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to just take the bachelor out before you take the girls.
Oh.
So just,
Take the bachelor.
I'm just saying,
Who's bachelor? Is Dipple the bachelor?
last year, that's the reason.
Apparently you can have 5.
Yeah, because you have to answer in your character and then you have to Hey,
Well.
Sure, Daisy. Have a seat up here.
Okay.
Pull. You have to.
I won't go any further than that, huh?
5. I'll go with that pool.
How much was left on it?
Well, I could,
The best part about this is they say, hey, Nerd Informant, we want you to go ahead and host cosplay speed dating. We did not get any cliff notes, so this is going to be really entertaining.
All right. Well, there you go.
You've seen the dating game, yes?
Yes, I know the dating game.
You've seen the
remember that shit.
Yeah.
I grew up watching that.
I'm old.
As I recall, with the dating game, right? Now, each one of the bachelorettes had a series of questions, correct? Yes.
And they're always leading.
And I'm always leading.
Well, no, the one that was the bachelor and asked the questions of the bachelorette, right?
Maybe it's backwards.
Well, it's both ways. It really is both
Because I
ways.
thought the one that was going to be the one who picked would ask the questions of the 3 or 4 or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I watched the show religiously. The girl would sit with a wall partition between them.
Right.
And there would be 3 single dudes. One of them was a serial killer once, for real.
Oh, dear God.
And
That's not how this
it's
is
a
supposed
true
to
story. It's a true story. Serial killer. I can't remember who it was. Might have been.
Yes, so it's literally like the bachelorettes or the bachelors were behind the curtain.
Yes.
You had one person that was asking the
And
questions.
she would
Yes.
ask the questions. Bachelor number 1, and she would be like have a single question for all 3. Like, if I were an ice cream, what would you do with me? And then like each one.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear Lord.
What?
Think of your questions, boys. But you've got to keep them clean.
Well, exactly.
Nerdy.
It was.
Keep them nerdy.
Oh, the nerdier the better, obviously, yes. Okay, all right, so we're gonna bring like the bachelor in, but we're gonna have to like, sit him in the back of the room, or we're gonna have to turn his mask around. I think that's gonna be the best. That way he can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a partition.
And then give him bad directions into the room.
Dude, that's perfect. All right.
Yeah. Gotta walk
I'm
in
gonna
his
go.
stuff.
I'm gonna go get the bachelor, and I'm gonna try not to suffocate him, but I'm gonna make sure he's blind. That's not weird at all, is it? Are we ready to play?
Yeah, we'll keep everyone occupied while
now,
you're doing
look
that.
at that.
Look at that.
Way
Let's
to
give
go,
it up
Nate.
for
Way to go, Nate. Yeah.
You are a lifesaver.
Yes.
Great by thing. Maybe lime.
I'm afraid that
Lime? Yeah, we'll go with lime.
Is that thing still going live? Because I think it is. It's got the live thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. It must be.
We're still live.
Hey, everybody.
So, look, let me just ask, how does the convention working, how's it working for you guys? Are you enjoying yourselves this year? Yeah. Because we are live.
It's almost like a Monty Python moment. And then there was much rejoicing.
So, any particular guests that you're interested in them having for next year? I mean,
So far, we cannot revive Stanley and bring him back.
Oh.
I would love to see Ghost after a Black Portal.
I have no idea what you just said, but I'll go with it.
You got to understand, we're old people.
Huh?
This is an old game.
The old anime.
I
was
feel it's
Voltron
like nothing's gonna
and
come out of my
G-Force.
hat at one point.
Now, everybody throw pickles at him, it'll be funny.
We got fruits and vegetables, everybody does.
I was about to say, cucumbers.
You can thank it, you can thank it.
A pickle's just a
Wait,
really
you're
good
You're
cucumber.
your only film.
Everlasting.
Oh,
Okay, now we found some more bachelorettes for you this time.
How many bachelorettes are we up to?
At least 7, maybe
Oh,
6.
Okay, so we have our bachelorettes together.
Yes, but we're only gonna take the top 3 for this.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
that 4?
Four.
4? Okay, we'll take the
Four.
top 4. We'll take the top 4.
Okay, so now again, the bachelor is the one asking the question.
Yes.
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 So I'm asking the question.
You're
Yes.
asking questions.
So our bachelorettes are right here, right?
But you gotta keep it at least PG-13.
Okay, so
You can't.
we'll work
Can't
this
be
out.
Fox
so
Deadpool.
How about we go 1, 2, and so forth? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we got a total of 4, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, this is Deadpool, we're going to address him, bachelorette, number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. And we have our numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, okay. Hand you the mic. Oh. Okay, right? Oh. Yeah, so cold. Can you hear me? Clap once to be careful. I said it once! You got me twice, you. I heard you clap twice. Oh, just leave. Alright, so I'm supposed to say bachelor number 1?
Yes.
Alright. So in a fight, who would win? A grilled cheese sandwich or a taco?
Taco all the way.
Ooh. Oh. There we go! Yes! My turn. Alright. Bachelorette number 2. You had a choice between the cream spread or a 9mm. Which one do you choose?
How about no, get someone else to do the work for me?
Understandable. I'm a cream spreader myself. Okay. Bachelorette number 3. Are you ready?
She nodded.
Alright, bachelor number 4. Well, that was my question. Are you ready? Alright. Bachelor number 4. If I choose you, what can you do with a glue?
I can throw it and it'll probably hit your face.
That's perfect. I love it. Good job.
Now it's time to go into categories. Okay. Let's try to ask about life. I mean, you know.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Deadpool, can you handle that? It's all about life. Life questions?
I love mini buttons.
How many lives do you have?
Well, I lost count to 1,000. Thanks, Bill.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Very, very good point. I had a really bad phase where I was CG and green. That was tough. Another one that my mouth was so out. Kind of shot that guy afterwards when I was opened my mouth up. Alright, categories. Wait, how many more match cigarettes do we have?
You have 4.
Only 4.
Yeah, 4.
What happened to the 17?
Islam.
There we go. Perfect.
Different mathematics.
Yes.
Alright,
Different
bachelorette
versions.
number 1. On a normal day, what do you do?
Anything I want.
Understandable. I mean, normally I wake up, try to take a shower, see myself in the mirror, pass out, then try to get wasted, and then that doesn't work. Bachelorette number 2. What type of car do you drive?
I don't drive a car, I sit in a throne all day, so I serve everything I want to do.
I want servants. What do I do to servants? I mean, I kidnap people.
You can control the entire galaxy, that's how.
I tried once. Thanos kind of hunted me off. Big purple butthole. Alright, so bachelorette number 3? Yes, we're agreeing, okay. So, what is the perfect lunch for you?
Full milk with donuts.
That sounds beautiful. Do you have some?
Not like a cherry.
Well, fine. Question number 4. Now, here's my question for you. Are you ready? Is she nodding?
Yes, she
Oh,
nodded.
she nodded. Okay. Are you sure?
There's no nodding.
There's no nodding. Wait, she's nodding now. Oh, okay.
She's ready.
Oh, you're ready. Okay. So, if you went to a pawn shop, what would be the first thing you want to buy?
A gun.
Oh! What type of gun though? That's my question. What type of gun? No, she's not the one right now. Resident Evil or Revolver all the way. Alright. What's the next
All right,
category?
Geeky Cool, what's our next category?
Geek questions.
Deep questions.
Questions is your next.
I thought we were supposed to keep this PG-13. Did it change? Yes. Got it.
Serious?
Alright.
Geeky questions. You ready?
Deep questions.
You know where you're at right now?
Honestly, this happened to me once, and I pulled it off, and all I saw was Barbie dolls all around me. I'm really scared right now.
Don't worry. Geeky questions.
Geeky?
I just realized you thought we said kinky earlier.
That's what I'm saying.
The problem was geeky.
Alright. Question number 1. What is your weapon of choice?
Depends on the day. Sometimes I like a really sharp knife. Sometimes I like a nice firearm. Depends on distance, what I'm after.
Ooh, some jokers over there. Or either or. Alright, question number 14. Wait, I mean 2. Sorry, I was trying. Okay. So, if you could rule the world, what would be the first thing you want to change about it?
Will make me the queen of the world first. But then I'd also make everyone work for me so I would never have to lift a finger again because that's my goal in life. Wow.
I understand this so hard. I understand this so hard. Question number 3. I was thinking that's in my eye. Oh my god. Question number 3. Sorry. Okay. Question number 3. If you're on Dr. Phil's show, what would be the issues that you're trying to resolve?
Him.
You have received yourself. Wow. What a woman. Alright. Question number 4. Are you ready?
She's not.
Okay, good. Now, the deepest question I could ever ask somebody. What is my favorite color? Go.
Have a favorite color.
Exactly!
Next
All right,
question.
Geeky Cool.
Perfect date.
Alright, that's what I think. Sorry, hairball. Actually, you can call it a cancer ball. Okay. What would be the ideal romantic date? Would you all?
Well, you know, I'm always good for.
See a little bit of rhinos going on? Yeah.
I kind of like fur. Let's go for some cats.
Oh, okay. I mean, you got some Bengal tigers and some lions and some bears. Go on.
I'll put it nice and striped. Just saying.
Oh, wait a minute. I understand. I like clothes myself. All right, that's what number 2. What would be your perfect
I want to do to get rid of, and then we just hang out for a little bit, but I'd be sitting in my crown and you'd be sitting on board.
Do I at least get a pillow?
No.
I don't get a pillow?
Mercury though.
This seems more like a child, like I'm in really much trouble. Well, like Captain America. Alright. That's alright. Is it three? Yes.
It's
Oh,
great.
oh, okay, okay. What would you, what would you do?
How about punching bad guys and monsters in the face and killing my father?
I just had an anime girl fangirl moment. Oh, yes. I like it. Now, that's right, number 7. 4, sorry, I dropped.
Any more questions? Yeah, cool. Is it about time that Mr. Poole has got to relinquish one of his bachelorettes?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Poole, this is going to be tough for you because now comes the time that you have to remove one bachelorette. No, you cannot use your weapon.
Dang it! I was like, I'm already cocked, locked, and ready to go.
But you're going to have to let go of one bachelorette. So which bachelorette will it be?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to jail. Bye, bye, 4.
So
But you're awesome. You're so cool. We're so
I hate
cool.
you.
And they will hate me
A
too.
lot of hatred here in the room. Geeky cool. Next category with 3 bachelorettes remaining.
Now, for this particular segment, each one of the remaining contestants gets to actually tell the bachelor one thing they really like about him.
So that's nothing, right? Cash, I'm kidding, I'm not gonna throw this.
You can start with any bachelorette you want.
Bachelorette number 1. What do you like about it?
Well, you fill out a tight suit pretty well.
Thank you!
A woman with power likes a man with one.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I mean, you can keep on going if you want. I'm first want if you keep going.
Some things should be left in mystery and discovered on their own, don't you think?
Alright, that's what I'm saying. What do you find enticing about him?
I like how you kill people, because that's fun.
I try so.
Especially when they have, when there's true stars, they're so fun to get rid of.
I try so hard. That's right, number 3. What's so nice about me?
Your mutated face.
Oh, she likes it for me. It's like an avocado. I have sex with other avocado.
Ew.
I heard I see you back there. You know, if you had to wake up every morning with this face next to you, yeah, you will be vomiting. Trust me, I vomit myself. That's why I'm here, because Vanessa broke up with me because I vomited all over her. I told her it wasn't her. It was just me, but she never believed me.
Mr. Poole, you have a lot of people say to you that's never going to heal if you don't stop picking at it.
That's what they said about my nose, and it fell off like 5 weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I mean, dude, when you have a cold and you say, man, I wish my nose was gone, at least you go. Makes it easy.
How long did it take to regrow?
Well, you see, there are some issues there. I'm not gonna. Next one.
Okay, this is where we find out where each of the contestants would actually like your first date with them to be. Describe the place, describe what you would have for dinner, if it's going to get involved, and etc.
It better be your own question. All right, that's like number 1. What or where? Exactly what he said. I forgot something. I was texting a little bit, but I have like one of those things kind of like Tony Stark. Just goes done. Stole it. That's an hour. Go for it.
So I think we should chase down our dinner, add a little spice, maybe make some chimichangas, you know, somewhere in the wild for sure. You know, I'm always good for killing my own food.
That's real girl. said.
Well, first we would go get rid of the people I want to get rid of. And then we would go back to my base, which is located in an abandoned TV studio. We'd have some dinner. I don't know what it would be. I don't usually eat. And then we just, hang out. Maybe you work with me at the end. Yeah. Sound good?
Like you want some brownies?
Whatever that is, yeah, sure.
Oh, I love those little brownies. Have you ever had those little brownies? They're delicious. Especially if you put some salt on it. Wait, don't put salt on it. That's a bad idea. All right. That's number 3. You're on the floor.
How about I make some pancakes with that?
Wait, did you know I was Canadian?
And it's pancakes.
Oh. Sorry, I got a little shimmy. All right.
You cool? What do we think? Is it time for another category, or shall we remove another bachelor?
I think it's time to remove.
Yes.
It's time. Deadpool, you have to make another hard decision. It gets more difficult from here, sir. You have to cut another bachelorette. With your katanas.
I don't have my knife or my katanas. I sold them.
We didn't throw you outside.
I sold them so I can get tickets in here.
Attaboy.
Good decision.
Attaboy. All right, so you got bachelorette number 1,
Yeah.
bachelorette number 2,
Okay.
or bachelorette number 3. Which one is going to go bye-bye?
Or Agent 47. Bachelorette number 1. You are not the father. Bachelorette number 2. I'm sorry. But I don't work for the government.
Joke's on you, I don't work for the government. What's the government anyway?
You made it so much harder to choose! Okay. I'm sorry, Bachelor number 2. Yeah, Bachelor. Where's the Bachelor at? Oh, look at me. Bachelor number 2. I'm sorry. But I have to let you go.
Whatever.
I'll call you later!
Oh.
You two didn't hear that. But call me later!
All right, here's the pool. It goes down to bachelorette number 1 and bachelorette number 3.
Fight to the death. Amuse me!
Yeah, hell of a good time, I'd say.
Deadpool here is he's batting 1,000 with his questions here. What's the next category?
I think we're gonna go with fashion. This is gonna be very important.
Very important to me. I mean, I wear red for a reason.
But let's just say we decide to change up. We're gonna ask each one of the contestants what they would actually pick for you to wear on your first date.
Oh, give PG though. PG-13, right?
At least PG.
Yeah, at least PG-13. All right, I'm gonna go out of order. Bachelorette number 4.
You eliminate.
3.
Oh, my bachelor. Oh, wait, she was what was it? Lily, right? I don't know. She was
I still hate you.
don't worry. Bachelorette number 3. Am I right? You're right. Oh, yes. That's the first one I actually got something right. Okay. What do you want?
How about a tuxedo with a big bag of lyrics and a sign on it?
Oh, how'd you know I fit in those tuxedos so good? Well, we don't have to burn it afterwards because, yeah, skin kind of, no dry cleaner wants to see that. All right, that's right, number 1. What would you want to see?
You know, I think a nice leopard print would work.
I was about to say, as long as I can have a Impala with nothing but leather. I like zebras. Zebras are nice. They're jerks. I had one night. That's why you don't cut off the heads of their parents. All right. What's the next question?
Always work for me.
I think it's. I think it's time to pick between 2. Big decision time. Big decision time.
Don't shit the chair.
Too late. That's why I'm over here and they're over there. They're that far. So they go smell it. Okay. Wait, who said something about demons over here? I heard demons and I love it.
I think that may have been Bachelorette number 3.
Well, because I did kind of try to knock with a demon once. That was some fun times. Oh. Oh, sorry, you're looking at my mask. I might have to go with demons. Because I love demons.
Okay, so like Mr. Bull, is that Bachelorette number 3 that you're choosing?
Yes, because of demons.
Bachelorette number 1, thank you for playing.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Please don't come take me. Oh, sure, yeah.
Bachelorette number 3, stand up.
That makes it even more fun.
Mr. Bull, is this a match made in,
Hell, yes! That is PG-13.
Meet your Bachelorette?
Yes.
We need to get a picture of you two together, so.
And also with you guys.
Yeah, come over here. You made this. Hold my leg. Oh, it'll be my pleasure. You can hold my other leg. I'm just kidding. Don't worry.
Okay, we're gonna do this on 3. Ready? 1, 2.
How far is it?
There you go.
Do any of you guys have anything to say while the camera's still rolling before we go?
Where's my gun over here?
What do you think of your bachelor here, especially the questions? Did he meet all of your expectations?
And one more thing, I thought I was your girlfriend.
Wow.
So we're not done yet. I think we've got one more round, right?
Yeah, we're here till 4:30, so.
So,
I'm gonna go ahead and sign up
We
from the
think
website.
that's a misprint, I think.
I want to get everybody to say bye to everybody on.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
So from all of us over here at Pop Culture Minefield, Geeky Cool,
Yeah.
Informants. Bye, guys.
Bye.